Hi, my name is Mr. Smith. I'll write my name on the top of my paper, and I'm going to show you how to find something called percent change. Delta always means change in science, in Greek, everywhere it means change. Percent is something that we use to see how much something changes per 100. So per cent, so per 100. So if you have a decimal that's maybe 0.45 at the end of this work, to change that into a percentage, you would just multiply by 100, because percent means every 100, how much does something change? So 0.45 times 100 is 45%. And that's at the very end of all the work we're going to do. So I'm going to show you how to find the difference between a couple numbers, and that difference is going to be labeled delta. Sometimes I fill it in. I usually don't because it's so much faster. So we're going to have, let's say, three numbers. Okay, the first number is 80, and this is going to be degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, this is 80 degrees Fahrenheit. This is 120 degrees Fahrenheit, and this is going to be 273 degrees Fahrenheit. And so we're going to pretend this is an experiment that goes from 80 degrees in the beginning to 120 degrees after, let's say, 2 minutes, and then after 2 more minutes it jumps up to 270 degrees. So this increase, we can tell just by looking at it, is small relatively, right? This difference, however, is more than double this number. So we're going to find out what the change is between each one. It's fairly simple to find the change. You just subtract. And what we're going to do is we're not going to have any work here. We're going to do all the work below the second number. So the second number between these two is 120. So we do 120 minus 80. That will give us the difference between the two. 120 minus 80 is 40. Okay? Now, I'm going to do the same thing to these two numbers. The second number is here. The first number is 120. The difference is found by subtracting. 273 minus 120. I'll do 13 minus 10 is 3. 3 minus 0 is 3. 7 minus 2 is 5, and 2 minus 1 is 1. So that's simple enough. We found the difference between these two numbers is 40. The difference between these two numbers is 153. Now is the percent part. So this is delta. These both equal delta. Okay, now we need to figure out how significant is this. In my class, we use something called percent. So if 80 is the first number, 120 is the second number, it changed by 40 degrees, how do we put that into a percent? Well, the first step is to divide. You divide 40 by 80. Now, 40 divided by 80, some can do it mentally, some need to write it out, but the difference is going to be 0.5. So 40 divided by 80 is 0.5. It's easy to think if you cross off these zeros. 4 divided by 8 is 1/2. It takes 8 halves to make 4. So 0.5 is what we get after that. Now we do this step. We multiply by 100. Our difference from going from 80 degrees to 120 degrees was a 50% change. 50% change. Now, I'm going to do something different just to show you why I'm going to do a double zigzag. That means it's totally separate, okay? Now, I'm going to do something that's similar but different, okay? I'm going to say this is 1,000 degrees. Okay. Now the second number I'm going to say is 1,040 degrees. Now, I'm going to find the difference first. So 1,000 and 1,040, I'm going to subtract. 0, 0 is 40. Oh my goodness. So this change is 40, and this change is also 40. Interesting. So someone looking at these changes might see, oh, it's the same change. But as a scientist, I need to know how significant that change is. So what I like to do is find the percent change. Okay, so we would divide by 1,000. Now what does 40 divided by 1,000 equal? 40, 1,000. Okay, 1,000 does not go into 40. So we put a decimal here. 0.00. It's going to be tiny, isn't it? I think so. So 1,000 does not go into 400. We just keep adding zeros once we have that decimal spot found. We could just add. We could add 20 zeros if we wanted to, but we don't have to right now. We only have to add 2 zeros, and we're pretending this decimal goes over. This is a 0. This 1,000 goes into 4,000 4 times. Notice that this 0 went up because the answer was 0. This is where we get our answer. 1,000 goes into 4,000 4 times. So the answer is 0.04. 0.04. Now, times 100 equals 4% change. Now, look at this number. 50% change. Now look at this number. 4% change. Which change is more significant? Going from 1,000 to 1,040 degrees, or going from 80 to 120 degrees? 50% change is way more significant than a 4% change. And that's why we do this. Because that number by itself, that 40, is the same in both of these, but the significance is very different. Now let's do this more complicated one over here. So we went from 80 degrees to 120 to 273. We found the change already, the delta. Now we have to divide by 120. So this is where I stop the video because I want you to solve the rest of this problem. You need to divide 153 by 120 and then multiply that answer by 100 to get the percent change.